Hey everybody, happy Friday. It is I, your songwriting partner, your co-producer, and as always, your friend, Joe Seeby. And happy Friday, guys. And Friday is our melody writing day. And we write a melody based on the night before, which is our Thursday's Picture This class in our creative writing class, where I give you guys a photograph, and then you guys have to write a chorus based on what you're seeing in the picture. Well, on Fridays, we always write the melody that I write a melody based on the lyrics that I wrote the night before. So I wrote lyrics, and then today I wrote a melody, and I'm going to show you how I came up with the melody and how to construct a melody for yourself. Melodies are very difficult if you're not used to creating them. And the other thing is, melodies don't need to be elaborate to be effective. You don't need to be going all over the place. Some melodies are so simple that they're very, very, there's only maybe 3 notes in them sometimes, but they're so effective. So it doesn't have to be complicated to be good. Remember that. That's a rule. So, all right, before we get into that, I'm just going to simply say the words to the melody that I wrote today based on the words that I came up with yesterday. Okay, so the words are waiting on someone to show me the meaning. I'm cold and I'm tired. I barely hold on. Just when I needed, I begged and I pleaded for someone to rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me. Rescue me. Baby, rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me again. Rescue me. Baby, rescue me out of the storm. So, so I started, after I wrote those words based on the picture that I saw, I heard a melody in my head. Now, in order to write a melody, you have to, one of the best things to do in the beginning is emulate people you like that are singers. And then try to write your own melody. Try to, there's only so many chord progressions you can do where you can write a melody over something, right? In this song, what I did was, I started to sing, a little thing that I was hearing in my head and trying to pull it down from my head out here, That's how I always start. I always hear a little tiny melody in my head, and then it's my job to pull it down from my brain and out of my mouth. But here's the thing with me, a lot of times, the melody's almost like a blurry picture. If you can hear music playing 2 blocks away, you can't hear it clearly. You can hear it, but you don't know what song it is. It could be you just hear the low end of it, traveling through the city streets. But you don't know what song it is. My ideas are almost like that sometimes. So how do we create a melody? Well, and all melodies are created from scales. Scales are, musical tools that we use to create sentences, right? That's Mary Had a Little Lamb, of course. You didn't even have to hear me sing the words to know that melody right there is Mary Had a Little Lamb's melody. Okay, so that's what a melody is. A melody is a tune, the tune in which you're singing, So how do we come up with a melody, right? So like I said, my melody was up here, but it wasn't all the way developed, right? So we have to fit the missing pieces from our mind, because I did hear this. This is what I heard. The first part that came out melody-wise was waiting on someone to show me the meaning. That's what I heard. Da 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 da. And then da 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 da. I heard that too. So it's I heard that. So, and that's a good key for me. As a songwriter and as a vocalist, I know what keys are going to flatter my voice, and we can always raise or lower it for writing a song for a different artist, or a female if we're male, or or vice versa. So the first line, that's an A note. Right? So the first thing I did was so I went but I wanted it to move, right? So you can't just stay on A. That's an A note, right? It's A minor. So I was going. So I wanted to go. Wait, let me see. Waiting on someone. Oh, I like that. But then some of the best things happened by accident. So I went, waiting on someone to show me the meaning. Right? So I went, let me see, wait, so, so like, that was the chord progression, right? So I started to go, and I like that chord progression. So it was like, waiting for someone to show me the meaning. I'm cold and I'm tired and barely hold on. Just when I needed, I begged and I pleaded for someone to rescue me out of the storm. I thought that was kind of nice, right? So, this took me a while. This didn't just all pop out of my head, but I had to put the pieces together. So like that, the first scale of this whole thing is, right? So that's A minor, right? So, if you're just going straight up and down, that's not a melody. It's just, it doesn't really do anything, right? I mean, it's pretty, and you can use it as a passage. I mean, and that's where the melody was built, from that scale. So let's start selecting the notes from my melody. So it's. See, there it is. Waiting for someone to show me the meaning. Cold and I'm tired, I barely hold on. Just when I needed, I begged and I pleaded for someone to. And I went, rescue me out of the storm. So that's, I wanted it to just move a little bit. And then I went. So that's the second part. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. So that's, you know, pretty much the whole thing, right? So, and then, of course, I heard the tempo, so I put a little drum, I made a little drum loop, so I went, so it was going, you know, waiting for something to show me the meaning. I'm cold and I'm tired, I'm barely hold on. Just when I need it, I'm begging, I'm pleading for someone to rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. So that's kind of like, you know, so that's the, you know, that's where that's it. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. So, you know, and like I said, this didn't happen in one, you know, it took me hours to like really flush this out based on the sketchy, blurry melody in my head and then putting the pieces together. But it takes time, especially if you wanted to do something that you don't expect it to do. And you're always looking for something that's like a sort of like an unexpected twist. As a songwriter, you always want to pull people in. Don't give them like what everything else is, you know? Like my chord progression isn't very different, right? So I'm going, you know. But I'll show you where it's different. So I was going. So I was going. So I was, you know, like, yeah, that was so, yeah, so, instead of doing the same thing twice, I do like an E suspended with an F. So it's like, you know. Now the F. G. So that's the part that makes it a little different in the chord progression as well. Now I'm going to play the whole thing for you, like a, you know, my little demos that I do. 1, 2, 3. Waiting on someone to show me the meaning. I'm cold and I'm tired, I barely hold on. Just when I'm needed, I beg and I plead for someone to rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. Rescue me, baby, rescue me out of the storm. And that's the whole thing, guys. I hope you like that. That is all the time we have tonight. This is your songwriting partner, your co-producer, and as always, your friend Joe Seavey signing off. Have an excellent weekend. I love you. I miss you. And I will see you guys on Monday. Peace.